Baseball.
All right, we are now on YouTube.
Excellent. Well, we have quorum, so we can get started. I will now call to order the Community Police Board meeting for Salem, Oregon. Tuesday, July 14th. And we'll go around and say our names for the record. I'm Grant Yoder.
Jeff Jorgensen.
Lee Coleman.
David Reinhold.
Lori Walker.
Dave and Lori, welcome to the committee. It's the last time. And then for the other people in the room, would like to introduce yourselves as well.
I'm Chris Snyder, a staff liaison.
I'm Gretchen Bennett, and Grant, I'm gonna offer one
Thank you,
edit. I think
please.
you said state of Oregon, and so just in case anyone's listening, we are in the state of Oregon, but it's the city of Salem. Yeah, so just in case anyone got confused by that. Gretchen, I'm staff.
Debbie Aguilar, Salem Police.
Steve Galvin.
Nathan Garrettson, City Attorney's Office on Council for the Board.
Thank you.
And there's nobody online.
All right. Will you keep an eye on that for
I
us?
will.
Awesome. Thank you. Next is well, actually, before we get started, I want to read the purpose of our committee. The mission of the Community Police Review Board is to provide Salem with the Salem community with an objective, unbiased, citizen-based, accessible process for the review and complaints against the police department and police officers, and to provide the Salem community with information regarding the accountability of its police department in ways that build trust and enhance communication between police and all members of the community. To this end, the board advocates for fairness, respect for all individuals, accountability of public employees, equal access to this forum, and open communication of concerns. That's why we're all here today. Next is approval of minutes from our last meeting. I don't know if anyone had a chance to review. You might want to. So, motion for approval.
I'll motion.
Thank you. I have a motion from Celine. I think you're the only one here other than me that was there.
I'll second.
The second. All right, all those in favor? All right. Then we have all members who were here last time in favor of it. Chris.
Okay.
And I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Thank you, Lori.
That's
Next up, we have public comment. I don't know if there's anyone here to comment online. Doesn't appear so. And it appears that we don't have any public comment in person. I probably should have done some introductions, but I just want to welcome our board members. So welcome, Lori. And now we have the case review initial draft report from last time. Do you guys have a copy of the case review that is the goal to review this and edit it, or to read it out loud for?
Thank you so much. The goal is to invite any edits or comments or questions that the group would have. And but I hope you'll forgive me. I think what we're realizing is that the Zoom phone number is not visible for Kelly, and so we're whispering about that. If I could let you work on that and respond to Kelly, then I can be here. So in your packet, you would have had what was called the Community Police Review Board case review. And it speaks to a complaint number and a motor vehicle accident. And so Chris also can call it up on the computer for you, and then that's also a document that was in your packet. It kind of looks like this. And so the objective tonight is to see if you had any edits, discussion about that, and then if not, we would move forward with the next step in the process for receiving this initial case review report. Yeah, Chris, thanks for
Thank you.
multitasking there. Yeah.
I'll open it to the board, and hopefully we'll have Kelly join us because she was, I know, instrumental in some of the thought process here as well.
Yeah. Chris is doing a great job finding the phone number. I appreciate you, Chris.
We'll wait for Kelly. Any thoughts on this draft, any edits that are necessary from the board?
I'm just getting my computer connected.
Please take
so I'm
time.
gonna pull up, so I have it there. Oh, that's good. So I support the recommendation as written.
Excellent. Great, thank you.
And that's my recollection of the conclusion we came to when we were in session talking about it.
Glad to hear it. Okay, excellent. Gretchen, we don't have all of our members here who were here last time. Do you know how this looks for us as we review this now?
Yeah, that's a really fair question. I didn't anticipate that. I think one idea would be to move. It's challenging for our quorum partially achieved with folks that didn't participate in the last case review. So I think if there's no objection, it could make sense, barring any additional feedback or discussion here today, to pause and then make sure to build in Zane and Scott, who couldn't be here tonight but may want to contribute into the discussion, and then return.
Yeah, my only hesitation is delaying this further. I know we're already
Yeah.
beyond our timelines for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Were Dane and Scott both included on the invitation for tonight that contained this?
They were, yeah.
Kelly's now online.
Thank you. Kelly, thank you for joining us.
Hey, good evening.
Kelly, you've entered in media res as we are taking a look at the draft that was attached to today's email to see if there's any edits or changes that we believe would be necessary for this draft. If you have any thoughts, we're happy to hear them.
Okay, nothing at this time.
Thank you. Okay, well, if I'm inclined to move forward with this today if possible, just so that we can be timely, considering that we're already behind schedule on it. And hoping that if there was some glaring issue that Dane or Scott would have noticed it in the email itself.
Sure,
So
I think that's a viable choice, yeah.
should we go for a vote? How best to proceed with this?
I wish I would have anticipated the question, because I know Lori and David may not be comfortable voting as they were not here. So I think you certainly were able to have the meeting because we have quorum, but I think it would make sense for the members who were participating to go ahead and make that vote. I think that would be just fine.
Nathan, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think that the realities of the situation and the report of the Board's mission outweigh pedantic cleaving to the text of the bylaws.
Great, all those in favor of moving forward with this draft as written? Aye?
Aye.
All those opposed? And then all those abstained? Good vote from Kelly. Thank you. Kelly, would you like to enter your vote either in favor of or against moving forward with this draft?
The draft as I had read it, I'm in favor of, yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right. Next up, we have follow up on the completed case review 24-COMP 0113.
yeah, Grant, I can kick that off if you would like. You had asked for a response to a previous case review. David, this is one that you had been involved with before your term of ending and coming back, where the board was just interested in a follow-up from your report at the time. And so tonight, the department is prepared a follow-up in response to the topics raised in that initial report. So we have it called up here together, and that was also, or on the board, and that was also in your packet. So I don't know if it generated some questions for you, or if anyone would like to have remarks. SPD, if you wanted to make any remarks, you're certainly welcome, but or if you're just want to respond to questions, that's great too. But yeah, it's basically here as a follow-up to your
Great,
request.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Are there questions from the board in response to this? My remarks in response to this is I want to thank Interim Chief Ditto for providing it and also for reaffirming partnership and commitment with the board. So please pass that along. I'm really grateful for this and looking forward to working with this. All right, we're moving a clip.
We are moving in a clip.
Next up, we have a request for hearing. We do have one status update.
I have a status update. You might remember receiving a request for review that related to a neighbor's experience. And in the process of working to schedule that, the person decided to withdraw their case review. They said, no, thank you. We're just done with the conversation and so don't want to continue with bringing the case forward. So that was a withdrawal from the person.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Gretchen, would you also like to speak about the training and orientation?
Yeah, you bet. We are moving into clip. So although this might be changing, we had observed that in the past, we had good time at our quarterly meetings to be able to include some training on topics. You know, we have topics that are identified as being of interest and good grounding benefit for the board, and we had in the past been able to get to those with our quarterly meeting cadence. We also need an orientation for our new members. We have David is a returning member, Lori is a new member, and there's a third new member that we don't see tonight, but that we anticipate welcoming as well. And so, given the recent case review schedule, I had wanted to ask if you would like to add something to the schedule to be sure to ground in some training, to provide orientation and to offer training on topics for the board. Today, we stand without a case review. And so one option might be to schedule orientation outside of our normal meeting cadence, but then anticipate resuming training with your next regularly scheduled meeting, or to schedule some additional training as well to kind of catch up since it's been a while since we've been able to do training. And so I wanted to see what the pleasure is of the board and move into a little bit of a scheduling conversation based upon that. But that was the purpose of that conversation.
Would gathering for orientation require a quorum as an official meeting, or is there some mechanism for our new members to have orientation without the entire board?
Thank you. I have in the past gathered only new members and been able to just conduct an orientation for them. We've also done it in the context of a full meeting. So I've done it both ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lean a little bit more towards having our new members take it. I know that we've had orientation a couple times as the board, and our time is becoming increasingly called upon right now. So the more we can do to protect the meeting time for meeting topics, I think I'd appreciate that,
Great.
including trainings, but
Great.
orientation specifically.
Okay, great.
But I welcome thoughts on orientation for our new board members as well.
Same, I mean, just in case we get additional hearings.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, I'd be happy to reach out to our new members and see and David, you know, as you wish, I know you've been a couple of times, we're happy to welcome you back, but we can see and get an orientation scheduled outside of this process.
Great, I appreciate that, Gretchen.
Of course.
Excellent. As far as the trainings go, I think those have been very valuable as part of our board time here and have generated good questions and comments from the board. I know one that we've talked about that I'm very interested in is learning about the city's relationship with automatic drivers license cameras
Right.
and things like that. So I think that would definitely be a valuable use for the board, but I hope open to comment as well.
Yeah, I think that's gaining traction with the public too. So more people might tune in if they know that we will be discussing that.
Sure. Sure. Great. Okay. Great. So we would explore the opportunity for that as well as maybe look back on the backlog
Yeah.
of topics and look ahead to the October meeting or,
That'd be great.
okay, great.
I think that'd be ideal.
Can I clarify, so you said
Please.
driver's license, do you mean the?
I mean license, yeah,
Okay,
sorry,
perfect.
thank you.
Okay.
License.
Good.
I noticed that there's no section for board member comment,
Oh,
but
That's an error, please.
I'd like to open for board member comment if anyone has anything they'd like to say. One question I had as part of board member comment, we've had discussions about reviewing our bylaws and also the process happening at the council level that is reviewing membership requirements and things like that.
Yeah,
I was curious, what is, and I know if Scott was here, he'd be foaming at the mouth too. For getting into the bylaw, what does the process actually begin that look? for us and what autonomy does our board have to look at those things versus versus council's role in actually setting the mission of our board? Can we talk about that a little bit about what that would look like? Not necessarily all the details now, but just to start that type of process.
Yeah, we absolutely can, and thank you for that. So first to the bylaws, of course, the bylaws are for those of you, I'm sure you know, are the document that explains or carries out how we do our work, and so they're in support of the Salem Revised Code, which council sets. Additionally, through work council has done with a consultant, there is the desire to bring to all of the city boards and commissions a template for bylaws that would be utilized, but there is recognition that boards have different roles and functions and are gonna need some adapting to their own function. That project, currently, we have a draft template of bylaws that needs to be rolled out and shared with the opportunity for comments from boards and then coming back again for another review, and that's still pending. So I can work on that. I'm on the staff team that's been working on trying to accomplish that, and so we can be taking a step towards bringing back the draft template as well as your own bylaws here to see what possibilities are and how we're gonna bring this together. I'll pause there in case you wanted to talk more about bylaws. You had a second part to your question.
Yeah, now that we have our slate clear for case reviews.
Yeah,
I am very interested in reviewing our bylaws for some content. We found in our most recent case reviews that our bylaws lack clarity from a few items when it comes to the actual case review and what the resolution of that is and how we come to it. So I'm very interested in firming that up while we have nothing on the docket. Even to the point that I feel it takes precedence over some of the training to that if we could prioritize it. So that when we do have a new case coming in, we all have firm ground for what our role is and how we're gonna reach our conclusions.
copy that. Okay, great. I think it'll involve taking the existing bylaws, taking the new template.
Yeah.
Identifying the ambiguities or the questions that have been identified from board members in your experience, and then starting to work through that. There may be roles, there's city roles in reviewing of bylaws as well. That like the attorney's office will want to review a draft. If I'm not mistaken, I think the police department reviews the bylaws as well, so I will wanna make sure we move through those processes too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever we can do to help start that off, I'm very eager to,
Okay,
especially surrounding the process of case review.
yeah,
The last couple case reviews we've had have kind of ended us with saying, all right, well, what are we allowed to do now? What does this actually mean? How can we interpret it? So whatever we do to not have interpretive conversations during that time and rather have fact-based conversations about what.
gotcha, okay,
I appreciate it.
yeah.
Please, Lori.
I have a question on that. So
Yeah.
is there a current bylaws for this?
There is, yes. And that'll be part of the orientation is reviewing those bylaws and having them sent to you as well. What we have, and they're also, I think they're available online, is that right, Chris? What we found recently is that the language in them isn't entirely clear when it comes to non-unanimous board votes and quorum when it comes to hearings especially. So we found ourselves feeling like, oh shoot, what are we gonna, now that we're at the point to make a conclusion, to make a decision, now we have to interpret policy to figure out what that looks like. So we're hoping to clear that up. And also, the other conversation with that was, we've talked a little bit about board members, and our board specifically has issue finding quorum a lot of times where we have to have our 5 members to have a quorum. And we've had meetings canceled in the past because we don't have everyone show up because things come up, or difficulty scheduling things like hearings, just because we're all in the community living busy lives. And so we're eager also to evaluate what that looks like to expand our opportunities. Did I answer your question, Lori?
Yes. And then can I also
Yeah.
ask, I assume you're the board chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm the board chair, Selena's the
I'm
vice
vice
chair.
Okay, thanks.
No one else wanted to be board chair, so here I am.
You were the most qualified, I think.
You're doing great. The second part to your question, I did not remember to be prepared to bring. I could have brought. City council did review the input that came on the membership requirements. You might remember a few months ago, we had a conversation about, membership but I don't recall their outcome. And so what I can do is find that link and get that sent out to all of you so you see it, and then and we can go from there in terms of discussion. Yeah, but I can get that information to you. Council did take a step on that.
Great, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that would have been smart for me to remember to bring to you.
No, I appreciate all that you do to put this together.
Did they make a decision just for our board or for all?
Virtually for all. I think there were some that for which there was no change recommended, but yes, they took a look at the full package.
Do I have the document, or I wouldn't know how to get it up on the screen to share it, but yes, Celine, there were changes to the overall, there were changes to the Salem code around boards and commissions, and so there were changes to general requirements in chapter 20I, which is where the Community Police Review Board is described. They made some specific changes to that. Let's see what the city attorney sent. Let's see, so they're went to council for first reading yesterday and second reading will be on the 27th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You were working on the question I had, was I couldn't remember if it was completely finalized. So it's in that process now.
It is in the process,
Yeah.
yes, so, yeah, let's make that available for the board this week, and then if you guys wanna go down to council on the 27th.
Thank you, Nathan, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I can do that.
Any other board member comment? One last thing I'd have with the board is, as we are eager to get into more training topics, if you take time to think between this meeting and an October meeting, things that you may have questions about policies or trainings from the department. I know we have some things that are already backlogged and down, but I'm very interested to see if there's any specific desires that you guys have as far as what that could look like or what you want to know more about as well.
That's correct. I'll add to that just for a second,
Please.
since we have time, that we've kind of had two things, and one is we've built a plan around making sure that you hear about topics like use of force and the complaints report that comes in through the professional standards unit, so that you have that because it anchors and aligns with the work that you're doing here. The bylaws speak to training related to civil or human rights, so that's always something to be sure to build in. And then we've also just tried to listen for what might be trends in complaints or things that you can anticipate, like, oh, this is an area where you could imagine a category of complaints could come, and so providing information around that as well. So that's been the way we've approached talking about training in the past, so if that gives you some thoughts, but thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Dave, welcome back. I'm glad to have you. Lori, thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you're on part of our board, and I will adjourn our meeting.
Very good, thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Lori.
Yeah, of course.
Kelly,
Well, sorry, you just adjourned the meeting. I had a question, but I can.
I'd like to unadjourn the meeting for a moment, if I may. Kelly, we're happy for your question.
Well, forgive me, as you all are packing up your things, no doubt, and eager to get out the door. But my question was this, and forgive me if you did address it a few minutes before I got here. One of the things at our last hearing, and I just wondered if there had been any follow-up that you could provide for us, was a discussion on kind of an observation that the amount of information we were getting in order to kind of review and make decisions around hearings had changed. And so, kind of in the spirit of, we want to be able to assure community trust in police actions and other sorts of things. Was there ever a discussion, or did we get any information kind of around what we can reasonably expect as far as information that's provided to us ahead of the hearing? If the conversation happened, great. If it didn't happen, I can bring it up another time.
It did not happen, and I'm glad that you brought it up. Is it appropriate to ask, oh, actually, I'm sorry, we're gonna pause for one moment. The library is closing and they're gonna read English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Please go to the nearest service desk. Please visit again during our regular business hours. Thank you. Buenas tardes, les queremos recordar que la biblioteca va a cerrar en 30 minutos. Si quería tomar materiales prestados, por favor diríjase al escritorio de servicio o a las estaciones de autoservicio. Si necesita abrir una cuenta nueva, por favor diríjase al escritorio de servicio ahora. Visítenos nuevamente durante nuestro horario regular. Gracias.
Okay. Gretchen, is it appropriate to address this question now to our visitors in the room? Or is this something that we should ask for an update on? How does one
Yeah.
approach board comment? Ask for a response.
Yeah, thank you. I would certainly invite, if anyone on the staff team would like to speak to the topic, you're absolutely welcome.
Did you hear it? Well,
Yeah.
This is my first meeting, so I would
Yes.
probably defer to you, but I mean, I could throw something out there, but I think
Yes.
you probably had something more articulate.
Yes, we have discussed it a lot actually, and what we're kind of landing on is what would be subject to public records request. It would be what would be provided to the board. Now we'd have to go through the action process, of course, but that would be kind of that general overarching standard of what the board would receive at the time.
excellent, thank you. Kelly, did you hear that?
I think I did. So, that what would be provided to the board would be material that would be made available through, say, a public records request. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
That's correct. That's what.
Okay. And so, I think I'm pausing. I don't want to delay the meeting too much longer, but I think one of the things then, so we wouldn't see things obviously that wouldn't be provided in a public records request that would be deemed confidential. But as far as kind of the volume, again, and it can be a longer conversation, but just appreciating last time it was really hard to make a decision because the party that had filed had provided us information that we hadn't gotten from the police department themselves. So it just put us as a board I found in a challenging place to be able to kind of uphold and support the decision. So if nothing else, this is just a comment to say we love it when we get a lot of extra material within reason of the confidentiality. So I'll maybe I'll just leave it at that, Grant.
Excellent, thank you, Kelly. I agree with everything you say, so I appreciate your comment.
Did she bring up where, from the last review where they didn't receive information?
Yes, that's kind of what started the conversation.
Yeah, so I looked into that specifically, and the case was still considered open because it was very, very shortly after the incident that they requested the information, and so it was denied because of that. So where the board stands, I mean, especially in that circumstance, they would have received what was, I guess, denied to the family. They would have received that because the case had been closed.
With this new process, not with the old
Yes.
process. Okay, great.
Yeah, so it would include all police reports, like the computer dispatch reports, photos, all sorts of stuff. We'd have to be careful around the juvenile area because those typically aren't subject to public records request. So that would be one.
Okay, thank you. Kelly, did you hear that as well?
I think I did. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your help. Thank you for your guys' discussions on this as well. Any additional board member comments? Well, with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting, please. Thank you all for your time today. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in October.
Have a
and
good night.
Have a great rest of your summer.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Kelly. No, you're not.
Yeah.
This is an attorney. Very good. Okay. But have you been watching the Lego drama?
Oh my God.
I've seen it, yeah.
Following that?
So, good.